Hello, guys. So, straight from the CEO World Record Studio here in Lithuania, I've got Mika Tienhaara, who is award-winning impact leader and innovator with such a distinctive and profound background. And he's going to tell all of that himself, who is literally right now in Oslo. And we just spoke how privileged we are, right, Mika, that there are so many things we've got both here in Baltics and Norwegian kind of, countries or Scandinavian countries in regards to the balance within the work and life. But it's not about that. Mika, could you tell us, what should we know about you and
Yeah,
your all these years of background from so many various industries? I know you've been in winery, you've been in energy, you've been within so many startups.
yeah. Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for having me on board this. Let's say innovation ecosystem you're really building with people, Laura. So
Oh yeah.
for me, it's been. I think I've really enjoyed my career in terms of having worked in both in the corporate world, been a founder, been in startups, done scale ups, especially in, let's say, automotive manufacturing and, let's say, energy industry. Then, of course, you mentioned some other areas, and it's been like also with let's say the journeys I've had, and there's been so many mistakes and blunders and things like that. But those are the things you learn the most from, and of course. Creating success is very much about learning from your mistakes,
Mm.
and well, I've also been, let's say, advising, been a mentor to many founders and startups to kind of try to give back a bit, also that don't make the stupid mistakes, but you have to kind of um, build your own business. Every business is unique, every business cycle changes, so it's not just like, oh, you have a set playbook and that's gonna, you can just repeat that time after time. No, that won't work. You kind of have to, it's in your mind. It has to be in your mindset, the agility, dynamics, ready to pivot and understand. But of course, there's certain things that you can adapt. But it's about having that spider sense also that, oh, something is not correct here. But it's not also not about me when I work with the teams and saying that how we're going to do, how are we going to build a success. It's about engaging the whole team, because that's how you can actually build something scalable and with an impact. So for me, the people and team is, I mean, that's essential. Without that, you won't get very far.
No. And even within, artificial intelligence stepping on our foot,
Yeah.
we still have to be like humans, right? And really have this empathy and understanding that it's not about I, it's about we. But going back to a word, impact. I thought that that's what I want to ask you when I walked the dog this
Mhm.
morning. Um, how do you, like, what is it for you? What do you put in that word?
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's easy to use, let's say, buzzwords or anything like that. But impact, what is it? For me, my interpretation of it is that it changes life or society for many. And so like coming with a new technology or innovation, typically it's not just the tech, but it's about disrupting businesses, maybe new business models. Uh, how is this creating user or customer value? And it means it's actually changing something. So you have to help those people, the users, also to adapt. And so when you get that, so it for me, like, oh, coming up with a new patent or solution and doing one piloting, now that's not an impact. That is
Mm-mm.
kind of, yeah. Then you start to show the proof of concept. But
That's
then
right.
comes the real play in question, Laura, and it's like, so how can we make this 100 times or 1,000 times or a million? That is the
Mhm.
impact. So
Mm.
and that is very tricky. And many startups are like, and founders is like, yeah, you get to piloting, but you might have a vision, but it's very difficult. This is the CASP, really, to get that impact, the footprint, many places. And I have an own podcast. We had a discussion with um, one lady out of the energy industry and worked with ventures, etc. And we talked about the dual CASP, because startups, founders, we come with new solutions, but we also need the corporates to, let's say, adopt these solutions, so that that brings the impact of it. So it's about building innovation ecosystems, really.
Mm, mm. You know what what resonates with me about this word impact, because the entire world record is built about the question, how is the world better off because your company is in it.
Yeah.
And it's all about the impact, and like really it what you are speaking about, it is to have a very clear understanding how many lives or how many whatever, right, measurable, we truly want to touch in our lifetime for leaving the footprint. um, and it is important, I believe. It is important in a couple of senses, that when we speak about having that purity and clarity of where we want to go and why, then it's and your bigger it is, your bigger it is, your kind of easier it is to attract investors, talents, and etc. Because that, all every each of us, we want to serve as human beings. So what I liked about your answer is that it has, in a way, to be measurable. That's how I translate.
Hmm.
Otherwise it's going to be just a cloudy sentences, and you won't even, like, have that clarity. So going back to the world record question, Mika, because I know you are representing Norway and you are representing Tienhaara Management with all of your profound background. So how is the world better off because your company is in it?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a big question. Do I make any impact, or a better, both better or improve life, improve the planet? And I think all my career, I've looked at, let's say, I've been working in the industry all my life, in a sense. And what what I've seen, being on, let's say, in plants, factories, etc., is that operational efficiency, or there's so many bottlenecks, and let's say the perceived way to operate relies so much on, let's say, manual processes, or certain individuals. I'm Of course, there's a lot of experts. I'm not kind of denying them, but it's more like, if we want to uh, take out, let's say, for instance, emissions and toxic pollution, we have to kind of build a better insight, real-time insights, for instance, and get better uptime, higher efficiencies, because that is a natural way to kind of diminish also the whole carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's still a lot of work we can do. And of course, yes, think about infrastructure. And plants, factories, they can be there for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. So of course, in that type of time scale, the, if you look at the last 50 years, of course, in robotics, for instance, it's happened so much, or sensor technology and AI. So it's of course, how do you implement this, and how do you make people uh, open to actually implement these type of solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and not having fear, or thinking, oh, this will take away my job, etc., or I'm redundant. I mean, there's always a next level then. And I think we have to, it's not a single company doing that, but it's about enabling those collaborations. And I think all my career also, I've always worked with the largest corporates in the world. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's also a way to show that yes, impact is possible, and
Mm-hmm.
corporates need innovators, founders, startups to kind of help them uh, to cross this chasm with, let's say, how to implement innovative solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
I think
understood.
that's kind of in a nutshell what I am about.
Your
Yeah,
impact. Yeah. All right.
yeah.
Let's get it even more clear. Because this
Okay.
is the world record question, which is like really highly important. Um, if you would, if you would wanna like really leave a legacy behind on this planet Earth for, let's take this generation and
Yeah.
maybe, half of the next. um, what would what would that be that would be so big, so brave that it would literally be worth living for you?
Yeah. It's a fantastic question, Laura, and of course I have to put out the bold vision here, and I think um, what I want to contribute with and be part of and push for is to, let's say, accelerate the energy systems to to become net zero, and at the same time, who's using those? I mean, we have, of course, uh, domestic use of energy, but also manufacturing side. If you look at all the manufacturing, we're, let's say, Asia has a lot of manufacturing, but it's coming. We're boosting European manufacturing again. US is going to have more manufacturing. So we have to look at the whole holistic picture: energy systems and manufacturing. Those
Hmm.
have to go hand in hand, and
Okay.
to build that net zero. And that's what I want to, let's say, propagate for and ensure that we do our best effort to getting there as quickly as possible.
I love that. And I just could feel your energy and the body, talking about that. That was brilliant. So just get it in, because once we're going to hit that world record, you will be able to share that with the entire, team of 50 plus CEOs.
Wow.
Because I think, I mean, all these bold questions really needed for each human being to, to really envision and connect to that oneness and really know our why beneath the why. So fantastic answer. Thank you so much, Mika. Yeah, I really got so much energy from that.
But hey, I have, it's not. Let me just make a small
Sure, sure.
further comment on that, and thank you for your feedback. I get passionate about these things, and it's not just like, okay, that was my little blur on what I want to do, but I think actually it's not just like, okay, is that just a high level plan? No, I think it's so. Uh, it's actually very concrete. It's possible to do a roadmap and say what we
Absolutely.
need to do with actions.
Absolutely. I hear
It is
that and
possible.
I see that. Absolutely. All the visions can be breakdown, right? So
Yeah.
everything can be breakdown. Okay, more questions coming. You spoke so vulnerably about the mistakes in the very beginning, and when looking on LinkedIn and in our screening process, I really loved how many various industries you've been at, and right in Italy you had a winery, if I'm correct. Um,
I've been helping. Yeah, I've been helping one young founder with, let's say, to
Fantastic,
build his startup a bit, and
fantastic.
been an advisor there. Yeah.
All right. And here is this vulnerable question where I really want your, the real answer.
Hmm.
Okay. What was that one mistake that truly changed you as personality?
Yeah. I mean, I'm Laura. I'm going to talk about, let's say, what just pops up in my mind, of course,
Of course.
because I think that is there is genuinity in that, and let's say. Early on in my career as an engineer, I worked on in automotive, and I was in charge of developing a system, let's say an engine heat management system that took down emissions. This is like
Hmm.
600 years ago, but anyhow, kind of feels like,
Dinosaur. Okay.
yeah. But I was, and we had a really good concept, and it worked. I made a proof of concept in this in that company, and then we had success with it technically, and then my manager tells me that that was fantastic work. So now we just file it and let it be there, and it was never implemented. And I think, I mean, as a mistake, I mean, it shocked me that a corporate could, I mean, do something that was good. I think it could have been a good, let's say, business model and business plan around it too to implement it. But it shocked me that something that had improved and would have, let's say, pushed the innovation from that corporate was never executed, put in place. So I think that changed me. Also, that how to put it? I mean, when you work in large organizations, you cannot control much. I don't say that being in a startup that doing impact is easier, but you can at least get the solution much further along and help the corporates to, let's say, get initial traction and maybe or possibly, and I've done it several times, make an impact. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it profoundly changed me in terms
Mm-hmm.
of I need to be a captain of what I'm doing. So I know that I can at
I
least
got it.
try to make, let's say, a business impact too. That helps,
Got it.
builds a better planet, makes a better society.
I think, yeah, I got it. And I'm such a visual person, and I'm with each of you. Where when I speak, I just place myself in the, in your story,
Uh,
whatever you are. And if you could go back to that moment when it happened, I mean, it's probably
uh,
been years ago, but could you reveal what type of feelings you felt that led you to the decision that that's it, you know, that's it, enough is enough. I am the captain of the ship.
yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, I was still a young engineer, but I actually, because what happened afterwards is that I went into business. I went into startups. So it was a very important moment and decisive moment. Feelings I had there, of course, I was, first of all, I was excited and happy we had succeeded with something no one else had done, and it was good. But of course, it's like that complete, let's say, devastation, anger. Of course, that like something that should be implemented is just scrapped like that. And I put my soul and passion in it. And of course, it was not just me. I had a large technical and engineering team, mechanical team doing this. We were doing road tests, etc. And I think I lost the motivation there in a
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. So what is
And
that?
and
That
I think,
anger, right? To mm-hmm.
yeah, of course, like, because it feels like, oh, you put an effort behind something, and then it's like it's not even being considered.
Oh,
And I think with young I mean, I've been through so many business cycles and companies, and I mean, product commercializations. So really exciting things, and it hasn't always worked, of course not, or we have pivoted a
of
lot of
course,
times. But
of course.
at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, I think that, oh, if I can help other founders to kind of, let's say, believe in yourself, help you, because there's so many hurdles to overcome, and get to find a customer, to do a pilot, how to commercialize, believe in yourself. I mean, it's I try to motivate as many as I can and help them.
Mm. Do you think you would be where you are without that experience?
That's a good one. Uh, no, I don't think so. Not at all. I think it was. in that sense, it was very important.
It was
But
such a push,
also to kind
right?
of, yeah, yeah, big
Mm.
push.
Mm. You know what I love about that you took that moment and you transformed anger to like literally a breakthrough for yourself, that you made a commitment to
Yeah,
step out from that type of the, of the world, making you feel like that. And today doing what you do, it is simply because it is like so rooted within you, because you felt that from within. You know what it means to be so disappointed, and devastated. And yeah, it's just a beautiful story. And thank you, Mika, for revealing that. It just tells, a lot about yeah, your experiences. All right. And you've been in many startups as well, and in corporate world. And I think I could definitely talk with you, and I show a picture for you.
okay.
Do you see that?
Oh, I can't. Hang on. Maybe I need to.
Okay.
You
You
can you
don't
put
have to
put
read
a
it.
bit?
You don't. Okay,
Oh,
you don't have to
yeah,
read
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
Okay.
okay, so it's in a
Yes,
way
I see it.
top
Okay.
down, lots of crowns. It's something probably what
Mm-hmm.
happened to you, something like that. Like you spoke as well in the very beginning when I asked about the impact, that it could be, one of the impacts could be coming up, like with the and scaling new management, let's say models, and etc. And you got this experience yourself, like right now, working as a mentor, consultant, and coach, and at the same time, been hired in a corporate world as this, profound, talented engineer. um, where do you see that that type of structure is giving benefits, and where do you see that that type of structure, I mean hierarchy, is literally taking away, or um, the company is losing the soul or the oneness with its impact?
Yeah, but you had to think about, of course, corporates. They are like clockworks. They tick, and it's not like, I mean, if you think, oh, take a, let's say, a manual watch, and disassemble that, and then try to, oh, you're gonna figure out some new components. I mean, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So that's how corporates are. So you have to kind of see how you can put an other cog, a bit external, and link to that corporate, that
Oh,
can, let's say, work, synchronize with that machinery, and
uh-huh.
work on the side, so that, and that can spin faster, but then plug in these elements of innovation into that clockwork, that bigger one.
So
And
delete the boundary. That's how I say. Delete the
yeah, yeah.
boundary. Uh-huh. Okay.
So, but we need it. We need each other, absolutely.
Correct. Mhm.
I think, of course, like a bit back to that previous question, also, that like when you experience, let's say, negative feelings or negativity, I mean, it doesn't need to be the end of it, because
Yeah.
you have to kind of use that energy. How can you make something out of it, something positive? So
So turning again,
that's always
let's say,
possible.
disappointment or anger to something,
Yeah,
pivoting and positing. That's so much in
correct.
you.
Never
Fantastic.
give
And
up.
no, never give up. And what type of rituals, personal rituals, and rituals within your team, Mika, helps, and the teams maybe of the startups you worked with, help them to stay anchored to that biggest audacious impact?
Yeah, I mean, with any team, and of course startups, I think that it's a lot of hard work and long hours, etc. But also, I think, first of all, you have to, I mean, I have to be a role model in a sense, and
Mhm.
or definitely, and also I have to be very clear on communicating, motivating, supporting. I need to be coached there, and of course, because that kind of builds that trust basis. How how will they otherwise contribute with more than, let's say, they clock in and clock out? Oh, I
Mm.
get my salary. But if you want them to actually participate and contribute, I have to show the way first, and of course, share information, communicate with them, show how we're doing it, but also like when we build that trust, of course, then you see that, oh, there's coming more contributions. But also like previous startup I've been in, I said that when we always had Friday virtual coffees or town halls,
Mm-hmm.
and I said that over the weekend, forget work, have fun, be with family, do other activities. On Monday we're back again. And because that's so important, that you need to have a good some type of balance, and it's not just about work. And
Mm-hmm.
so getting that kind of balance, and of course the trust base, means also that, oh, you know people and the team understands that, oh, there's not going to be any blame, or if we make a mistake, okay, just that we don't repeat, we have to learn from it. So it's about building very efficient also work process, that okay, when we
Mm-hmm.
have a project or some learnings, let's do a lessons learned. How do we improve our work processes? Let everyone know about this, so that uh, we know why this happened. And so you have people contributing from business development, sales, marketing, quality assurance, project management, testing, assembly, everything, field service, and you kind of share. I mean, get a lot of knowledge then. So I think that is what I think is really important with the people. So it's not, you know, you show that little chart there, but I think like as a CEO, where are you really? I think in a sense, org charts are kind of to simplify things, but I think I'm on. You have to be on the side. You're coaching everyone in a sense, and
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
supporting them. But it doesn't mean that, oh, you are all best friends. It's not about that. I mean, of course, it's about setting the smart goals. What are the KPIs, the OKRs? How is our company doing? Why did we miss targets? So why did we do better than targets? So all the time,
Mm-hmm.
to understand that the metrics are behind this. But if you have team employees who are feeling well, they you don't go in and micromanage them. You have to. They're super capable people. They flourish. They build on their talent if you let them do that. And if they understand in what envelope, what are the values, why are we doing this, they perform even better.
Mm. Amazing. I loved each bit of that. And especially the one about um, kind of, yeah, lessons learned. And I know that it's been like for
Mhm.
ages as a habit, as a ritual. And probably every book of the business speaks about that in one or another sense. But like really without any lies, like how often during a week we have the space, the ritual where we are gathering
Mhm.
and where we are sharing without the blame and the fear what are our insights and reflections of now and moving ahead. That's where I feel that a gap between between a word and a really like a habit on the shop floor. Um, yeah, and if going back to the org charts, like without any masks, it's I feel that they are just so simply outdated. And there are
Yeah.
so many experiments I would want to do, and one of them would be stepping into the corporate and a big one and delete all the org chart files and just literally see what happens.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. Nice experiment. Yeah, yeah,
yeah
yeah. Absolutely.
so my question would be because you are with so many startups who are growing, right, and some of them are pivoting and growing like really exponentially, let's say from 10 people to 100 and 500. Have you ever thought how you would want to, let's say, visualize, let's say, I don't want to call it a structure, the ecosystem, so everyone could understand, the contribution to that oneness of that biggest audacious impact, and at the same time, I mean, see both, see we, um, before they see I.
Hmm. Wow, that's of course. I think it goes a bit back to, let's say, like I said, if as a CEO, I mean, I have to show them the vision and talk about this, and of course, I tell them everyone needs to have their role in this, and I said it. Don't copy my words because your role is different than mine. So
Mm-hmm.
how you interpret this is different than how I see it because you have your work tasks. So so the vision is important. And I think it's like I'm just
Love
drawing here.
that.
Well, you know,
Okay.
the vision. I'm here. Here's the team. You know, that's the
It's a
one.
circle, right? That's a
Yeah,
circle. It's connected. Uh-huh.
exactly. And then we have the work processes. It's like task after task. You accomplish something. So
Horizontal.
I think that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
super.
So that's
Yeah,
that's my interpretation, Laura.
love that. Love that. But we should try one day to a couple of big
Yeah,
companies
yeah,
to
yeah.
delete those yeah, charts. And the last question. What for you is a life well lived?
Yeah, I mean, of course. First of all, you have to think about. I mean, what brings happiness, and I think my family is it's the most important. My wife and kids, to have a good good life as such, and I think also it's about in the Nordics, like we live so in connection still with the nature, and I think that's where I also get a lot of my energy. It's not just to push business and pitching or whatever, fundraising or doing projects. It's about, let's say, I love to go hiking, riding bike, skiing, being outdoor and feel the elements. And so that's my kind of, uh, as often as I can, really. And then of course, um, so that's one part. Music is, which is also creative. I mean, I've been, yeah, early days I was a musician, and as a hobby, and I think that is also very creative. And I know a lot of, let's say, old friends who are still in bands, and it is so creative, and that kind of also gives me energy as such. So I need to kind of balance in that sense, and that helps me to also thrive. And I get a lot of, let's say, impulses and new ideas that way.
Hmm.
So yeah, so those are part of happiness. And of course, I business wise, I think that when I see people in my team to who flourish, who have success, I think that brings me the most amount of happiness, really, that I see that, wow, they made it.
Oh,
So
that's wonderful. Um, Thank you, Mika, so much for being with us. And it was incredible to have you. And it's just the start. And and with all of your yeah, with your experience, which is so vividly um, yeah, mature, I would say. That's what I would put a word on, and different. I'm, sure that you have so much wisdom to be poured out to this network and the community of the CEO World Record. So thank you so much for being with me and us today.
thanks for having me, Laura. It was a pleasure.
It was mine too.